Well, I thought I might give an update on what I've been working on over the past few days. The 75 Goldwing I'm working on has some problems with the gauges. Here's this tach from that bike. The 75s with the darker green background, as you can see, they have a problem where the printing starts developing cracks with age. They don't all do it, but they probably will over time. And my other 75 Goldwing, I paid a company to restore the gauges, and they looked really beautiful, looked like new. But unfortunately, the person who did that is no longer in business. He sold the business to somebody else. And I've been in talks with him over email, and his pricing is pretty expensive. And I don't know that I want to spend, probably with shipping to and from the Netherlands and his fees and tariffs, I might be looking at $900 to $1,000 to have the two gauges restored. I'm going to try to avoid doing that, so I got this really crusty tachometer from eBay. I made a $10 offer on it, and the seller took it. So with shipping, it was like $27, $26. And I thought I'll tackle the disassembly of this gauge as a practice, and if I can get it done, I will go ahead and attempt my gauges that I intend to use on the bike. So here's where it's at. I did not record the disassembly of this thing. There's a few videos out there you can find if you search for it. But basically what it entails is on my gauge here, you'll be able to see there's this ring that goes around the two, and it joins the two halves together. And what you need to do is get in there and pry the ring up carefully without distorting it too much. And to do that, I just used one of these paint can openers from, I think I probably got it at Home Depot with a can of paint for free. And I sharpened it a little bit, and it allowed me to get into that gap. And I started on this side where there's already, you can kind of see where there's kind of a good spot to get in there. And I worked my way around, taking my time, and this is the result. Here's the top side of the ring, and it still is in good shape. The back side where I pried it, maybe when I do it again, I can do it a little more smoothly. This isn't too bad. I think I'll hopefully be able to flatten it down when the time's right. And it'll be on the back side anyway. And I don't know that anyone would ever see it because it'll be resting up against this gauge cushion inside the chrome backing. I do have new gauge cushions. These get bad. You can see this one is very distorted, and it's supposed to be foam, but it's as hard as like plastic. So that wouldn't be able to be reused anyway. So I did find a seller of new gauge faces. They're based in Great Britain, I believe. They're on eBay, and they are inbound. I should have them. The delivery estimate is Valentine's Day, so a couple weeks. And from what I can see, that they look very good, hopefully as good as the other bike where I had the job professionally done. So it includes the faces for the tach and speedometer, and it includes the temperature gauge decal, and it includes actually includes the fuel gauge, which my fuel gauge is in good shape, but I may do it anyway just to make sure they all match. The way this thing goes together is this glass lens, which is, I never really realized until I took it apart. They're curved, they're not flat. There's a rubber gasket that goes around that glass, and I did damage this one a bit taking it apart because I didn't realize it kind of not sandwiches, but it goes on the top and the bottom and the outside edges of the lens. So next time I know not to allow it to come apart the way this one did. Learning experience. And then to get this blue shell out from inside the outer shell, it did not budge until someone advised using heat. So I set this gauge on a radiator, oil-filled radiator, portable one, and let it get nice and hot. And then I was able to get in there and gently pry it apart. But now that I'm a little more educated on how this goes, I'm hoping I can do it without tearing the rubber gasket. And then the needle, once I have the new faces, I will see if I can source some orange paint for the tip of the needle that will match the orange of the face. And if I can just, it should be pretty easy just to paint the end of that. And the needle just lifted off. I did see where somebody suggested using 2 spoons from your kitchen, and it actually worked really well. But it just sits on this shaft, and it just popped right off. Not a big deal at all. And that's how it looked before I did that. So I kind of was careful about not damaging the face, and it did not damage the face when I used the spoons. But I do have the new faces coming. So I'm hopeful when the new parts come in, I'm able to tackle these guys. And I'm hoping the mechanisms are working fine. I know on my other gauges, there was a mineral oil dampening something. I don't know exactly what it is, that needed to be refilled. This junk gauge, I can see that it does feel really nicely dampened. When I release it, it rolls back real smoothly. I'm hopeful the other gauges will be the same, and I'll be able to just swap the faces, put them back together, and run with it that way. So I'm kind of excited to try this myself. I'm going to be stripping and shooting this outer shell with a black satin epoxy paint, hoping it'll be nice and durable. And I wouldn't mind to have it powder coated, but the powder coater I'm using, and he's had my frame and swing arm and other parts for about 125 days now, and I'm starting to get frustrated, and I don't really want to start over with something like this. So I will attempt this with some epoxy rattle can paint and see how it looks. And here I thought I would share, these are the gauges that I had professionally restored, and gauges that I'm very much hoping I'll end up with by the time I'm done. These came out excellent. I'm so happy with the job. I had these restored during the COVID pandemic, and it took something like 10 months round trip to send them there to the Netherlands, have them restored, and get them back. So at the time it was very frustrating, but as you can see, these things came out great. And from the pictures I've seen, the new faces that I ordered should be the same as these. I did not do the fuel gauge, but the fuel gauge is in excellent shape, so I just kept it the way it is. And I think it all works fine together. One thing that I'd seen online is somebody who was using a piece of 4-inch PVC pipe to hold the gauge in place when they were working on it. And this fitting I bought from Home Depot, it doesn't quite fit. I can force it and it'll go in, but it's just a little bit too small of a diameter. I don't think it needs to be precision to fit around the gauge. So what I may do is just use some sandpaper, see if I can open this up just a little bit. I don't know if I have a better idea than that. I don't have a lathe or anything I could spin this on. So I'm going to give that a shot, see if I can use this to better hold these in place when I'm working on them. And it will be important when I go to crimp that ring back on. I'll be putting it in this way, and I'll want this to fit nicely, and I'll want to not tear up the new paint. So I suppose I'll probably wrap the gauge in painter's tape or something to protect it. But I do need to open this up just a bit. So we'll see how that goes. Back side of the gauges, I have some nice chrome, good shape covers here. Just need to be cleaned. And the two small panhead screws were fairly rusty. So thankfully, can still get them from Honda. So I have 4 new ones sitting here, ready to go. And before I put it together, I'll test these lights. These may be the original bulbs from 1975. So there you go. Hopefully I have a little bit of a better update for you next time. I'll see if I feel up to recording the process of disassembly of one of these reel gauges. It's a bit tedious. I don't know if I can really get a good camera angle when I'm working on it. But like I said, if you just search, there's other videos on YouTube that are probably better than what I'm going to shoot. And it just basically shows disassembling, prying up the ring, splitting the 2 halves, and then things come apart in a fairly obvious way, other than this gasket around the glass, which goes into these 2 halves. So I will keep you updated once I have more for you.